in Lakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude. Welcome everyone to our high frequency living tonight, where we will be talking about the Sun and Sea coffee. So it's going to be a wonderful conversation. Tarvars of the Sun is joining me. So before we get started, just a few announcements. I am Diane of the Sun, owner of In Lakesh Studio One, a franchise of the Sun. We offer quantum light property clearing services, truth and tea, call for the truth card readings, and other services and products. So you can check us out at inlakeshstudio1.com, and the link is in the description. And High Frequency Living offers live streams that we focus on high frequency living lifestyle topics and of the Sun classes and modalities like quantum light property clearing, soul translation, light body movement, and other classes, services, and products. All the live streams are recorded, so be sure to check out our previous live streams and podcasts. So each week we have live streams on Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern with Lauren of the Sun for flowers and frequencies. Wednesdays at noon is a midday meditation with myself. On Thursdays at noon Eastern is Tarvars and Lota of the Sun, and they have a Call for the Truth podcast. And Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have an alternating schedule. So next Friday is August 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Will be the Evolutionary Book Club, and we will be discussing the book The Subconscious Speaks by Erna Farrell Grabe and Paul C. Farrell. So I hope you can join us. It's a fascinating read. It's very quick. You can listen to it also, and it's information brought from the subconscious. So hopefully you can join us then. And you can check out all upcoming classes and other things in the description tonight. So welcome to Vars. I'm so excited.
In Lakesh.
Yes, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful discussion tonight. I know I'm going to learn some new information too.
Yes.
I have my Avo coffee.
Okay, so I'm doing the classic original Sun and Sea, super hot and brewed, but it's savory. Cheers, 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 cheers.
Cheers.
Digital cheers.
It's good.
Yeah.
All righty. So where would you like to start, Tarvars? Would you like to tell us how Sun and Sea came into being?
Yeah, let's do that. I would like to speak a bit about this. So this is an original product from Lauta of the Sun. And so she, once upon a time, worked a corporate job. Yeah, you're like, what? Yeah, she worked corporate. And for anybody who's worked in corporate, they give free coffee. I had a corporate office job and they gave us free coffee, and the coffee was rancid. They gave us free coffee, sugar, creamer. It was unlimited and it was horrible. So apparently she had the same experience, and it was, it's just so detrimental. But the funny thing is that caffeine is not completely negative in the way in which it's been marketed and conveyed. But we'll get there in a moment. However, when you think about the way the coffee bean is processed and then it's super low grade, and it was like car battery fluid or something, it was weird. But anywho, her, like many other people, move into a level of consciousness of recognizing its impact on the biology and wanting something better. But then you get that boost. It's nice to have that little boost of energy, but we know it's usually this artificial stimulant. And so, as Lauta does, out of necessity, she curates her experience. And so she took four basic ingredients, which she was looking to make the product as simple as possible and change the chemical composition to where it would add to the body nutritional content versus stripping it away in the way how caffeine or coffee somehow does with our biology. And so she curated this composition, and here we are today. This idea of intentionally sourcing the coffee, making sure the quality is right. The coffee is organic, it is alkaline, keeping to simplicity, the purity, and there's this aspect with our coffee where it's not just about the alkalinity, it's conscious in its living. All of the other Sun products are awakened and energetically enhanced. We speak to the consciousness of all the ingredients, and once it transforms into one larger ingredient, we're speaking and raising the vibrational field. So there's intentionality with every step of the process. And as a matter of fact, we, through the production process, are ho'oponoponoing, keeping our thoughts in a high vibratory field while we're making it. And this has been the way I've been working with Of the Sun employed for well over a decade. And that was my training. Keep your thoughts in Pono T while you're producing anything, while you're shipping the packages, because many of us are becoming aware of how the energy of the handling of our produce and other products, the energy is imprinted, and we end up taking that on. And some of us are becoming even more sensitive, and we're like, oh my gosh. And it's not that we should be a victim, because we have solutions for raising the vibratory field. We were just talking about that in the Luminous Life method. However, this is the other Sun way, where we acknowledge that, because that's the experience we're looking to have, and that's part of our truth. And so here we are today, where we have this wonderful alkaline coffee providing people an alternative who like the taste, like the energy, but without the crash, as you say. That's, all the energy without the crash. That's what you titled it. So that's a bit of the origin of the Sun and Sea coffee.
All righty. Thank you. So I know you've been on your journey of liquids, and I know that this is a liquid, and you have some information about the coffee and how it really helps you with your lifestyle of liquidarian, I think you call it, or something like
Yeah,
that.
I call it a lot of different things. I'm not settled on the title yet, but that's one of them.
All
Uh,
right.
Liquidarian is, in its like traditional sense, um, I like to say liquid light lifestyle, because it's not just the liquids. And I'm still processing, because and I was talking to Lauta about this. People are like, "Oh, you're glowing," or "What do you do?" And you got muscles, but you don't eat. And it's like it's not just fasting and liquids. It's the way I think. It's the energy hygiene. It's the lifestyle that we cultivate. So anywho, I'll get back to you and let you know once I create a term. But maybe we should just call it luminous life. Or one aspect
Okay.
of it. Yeah, liquid luminous life. So
Mhm.
anyhow, this is beneficial. For somebody who is pursuing living off of liquids, it's so imperative that you're getting your nutrients. Now, I've studied enough to help move my mind psychologically in harmony with this idea of food does not have to come in solids. Food can also, and it doesn't have to necessarily come from the traditional conventional means, because what's happening, why are we even eating? Why are we consuming what we're consuming? I'm going to keep this brief, because I almost feel like this could go in a whole nother direction. I'm a little hyped up, and I feel the ooh, oh now, whoa, Tavares, whoa. But I will complete this thought though, because it's one of the reasons why I enjoy it. I understand that we want energy, and energy comes from the cells. We want to fuel the cells that fuel us, that help us have energy. And so that, therefore we eat. And one of the closest ways we can get sources of energy is from the sun, sun and sea, right? Um, plants, salts, sea, salt. Hey, look at that, right? And the mineral composition for the electrolytes, all that good stuff. And then we eat plants that photosynthesize and are super nutrient dense. And then we go down the gradient that's steps and levels from the source of light, life, energy. So chlorella is extremely nutrient dense, and it is giving the energy that is needed to fuel the to fuel the mitochondria to get the ATP, the energy that when we're eating, the food breaks down from like fats and salts and sugars and glucose and all these things. It breaks down even further into one single molecule called ATP. Um, don't quote me on this. Adrenal triphosphate, something, something, something. ATP. Google call it ATP. Google it. ATP mitochondria. You'll see the full scientific word. So this ATP is what fuels the body, the cells. That's what the mitochondria has that produces energy. And so when I learned this, I was like, ooh, wee. And so I want to get things or consume things that are super high in terms of like the ATP that I can get that my cells will process. Regular coffee won't do that. Fruits will do that, but chlorella, man, chlorella, and we're advocates of spirulina. We both have purchased raw living spirulina, and we love that.
Mhm.
But chlorella is spirulina's cousin. Actually, I think they're siblings. Brother and sister, because they're a little different, but they're so nutrient dense. So spirulina, it is extremely nutrient dense. So first off, excuse me, I said spirulina. Chlorella is extremely nutrient dense. So one of the things it comes from the sea. It's a microalgae, and while it does not directly produce ATP in the cells, it provides many of the raw materials that the mitochondria needs. So first off, it's a complete protein. It's 50 to 60% of a protein by dry weight. You There's so many different things that you're getting. You're getting all the 9 essential amino acids in chlorella. Chlorella contains B vitamins. It's very important, especially for people who are vegetarian and they're choosing not to eat meats and things like that. You can actually get this from the chlorella. B2, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6. What else we have? We have iron is in it. Magnesium is also in it, which is so important for ATP and synthesizing. But in general, we lack magnesium in our bodies. Hence, one of the reasons why we're always talking about take a salt bath, be in salt, take a pinch of salt. It not only clears you, but um, we need minerals to function. But that's a whole nother story. Chlorophyll, it is extremely dense in chlorophyll, which is like the plant blood, so to say. And so this is something it's important, like the antioxidants. It's reduces oxidative stress, and chlorophyll promotes detoxification. So when you're eating green or you're doing chlorophyll drops, it helps clean the blood.
Mhm.
uh, I already mentioned antioxidants, the minerals that you have in there, and omega 3s are in chlorella because again it comes from the sea. It's a microalgae. It has fiber for the gut. So each one of these areas, I could go on and on and on about the contribution that chlorella does. And so when you think about chlorella in the scheme of just caffeine by itself, it completely changes the chemical composition. And this is why we say
Mhm.
all the energy without the crowds, because like all of that is in chlorella. And there are some stories. I'll get there at another time, but specifically for me, it gives me that boost naturally. It gives me the greens. Now, of course, I'd like some living chlorella, but we use the dry powdered chlorella. That's the broken cell wall, and that's also something that's important because there's different types of chlorellas that are out there that aren't as bioavailable. And what I mean by that is like You ever take something that you think is healthy, but like your body doesn't absorb it and take and
Mhm.
fully take it in and process and assimilate? So the broken cell wall means that it's bioavailable, meaning your cells will be able to really absorb and process and send that information to where it needs to go in the body. So
Mm.
chlorella is the way. Algae, things like that, it is the way. As a matter of fact, we're looking to produce these microalgae in the near future. We did a trial run before. But this is something that we'd like to do in general, where people can work with it and have such a nutrient dense food profile by adding this into their food lifestyle. But in the meantime, Sun and Sea Coffee. It's again alkaline, and the entire chemistry composition changes with chlorella.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you for all that explanation. I didn't know about that, some of those things.
Hey.
So, thank you. So the chlorella actually alkalinizes the coffee. And so what about the hemp powder and the Lakanto? Are they alkaline as well? And
They
are they
are,
just they're each alkaline?
yeah, in their own way, but you know, the reasonings behind them is more so of, people like creamer, people like
Mm,
sugar.
yeah.
But again, in Lao Tzu's process, it was how can I sustain the vibrational integrity? Because remember, she's a traditional healer. She was healing people through food before it was super cool. Back in the days where, like, people look back to Dr. Sabi and others, these were her contemporaries. So she's very much in that field. And so in the development of the process, it's like, okay, people like these things, but what are some alternatives that won't send them into remission from the healing that she has assisted them with? So uh, let's start with the hemp milk. So people like dairy, people like creamer. We know how problematic dairy is. Did you hear
Mhm.
about the Skittles that fell off the truck and they fed them to cows? I know it sounds wild, but they're feeding cows more than corn or
Oh my.
other grains. You can look this up. This is real. It's not AI. This happened several months back, and
Oh,
no charges were pressed against them. But we're in a time where the truth is coming out in terms of the agricultural practices, and it's just wild out here, wild wild west. But there what and it's not just Skittles. It's the conditions that the cows are raised in, how the milk is processed, and then ultimately, most people are lactose intolerant. Most people cannot process milk. So we've been taught to take it in. Some people can. There's some genetics and biologies that can, but most can't. And so to honor that, what are some alternatives where we can have that creamy taste, literally and figuratively, but sustain our health where it doesn't send us in the opposite direction? And so hemp milk. Now it's funny because we went through levels throughout the years. She did originally, it was goat's milk, which goat's milk it's very different in terms of the way it hits the body. But she's like, nope, and it was alkaline too. But she's like, nope, we're going straight to him, completely dairy free. And so with something like hemp, hemp has a very strong nutritional profile as well. It's nutrient dense, so it's not just the creamer, it's the other vitamins and minerals that are associated with hemp, but it's really the creamer. It's really like that's what's giving it the creamy taste.
mm,
I lean heavier on chlorella in terms of the nutritional content, but hemp has its own spectrum. And hemp in general, there's been so many people lobbying or corporations lobbying against hemp because hemp it has many different forms of benefits to humanity, whether it's through becoming a dairy alternative through hemp milk, like hemp seeds, right?
mhm.
Which it's hemp seeds extremely high in protein. nutritional content in general. Like people who are lifting weights, and I like lifting and doing things with the body. Hemp seeds, hemp milk, make it at home. Extremely nutritional. And you can use hemp for making clothing and so many other things that would just bring balance to our world instead of cutting down trees and all these other weird, crazy things that we're doing. And so, again, hemp creamer, healthy, light on the body, and it's alkaline. Again, so
Awesome.
now the Lakanto or the sweetener, it's plant derived. The monk fruit, Lakanto monk fruit, it is a natural sweetener from the plant monk fruit. It's cultivated in Asia, but it's so pervasive now. Like monk fruit, like, they're selling monk fruit, the Lakanto pancake mix now. It's like you can get this in a variety of different um, colors. Like there's like the gold, there's the white, and there's other ingredients added in. I don't remember all the things, but the point is that the main purpose of the sweetener was to have a sweetener that had a low glycemic index. Because
Mm.
again, being in the process of healing, what does lauta look like healing people with diabetes or assisting them with their healing journey and then telling them to have something that would spike their insulin? So
Mm.
which is another a very common thing. People are pouring sugar, just waterfall. Don't stop. Keep going. More. 4 or 5 sugars, please. Extra cream. And, look at America. Yeah, Alonso often makes this joke because she's very well traveled, and she said people in Europe they would say, "Yeah, Americans are oversexed, overfed, and over here, like over here, like, But it's part of our issue with our sugar intake, and so this sugar alternative again, it is alkaline, it is natural, and it has zero on the glycemic index. So it will
Oh.
not spike the insulin at all. And it's sweet. It's good. It's better than stevia, I would say.
Mhm.
I mean, stevia is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna knock stevia, but that Lakanto's nice if you're looking for the sweetness without the negative recoil. So that's
Mhm.
some background behind those ingredients.
Awesome. Thank you. And I know that you're drinking the coffee just as coffee today, where
Yeah,
it's
just as
warm.
coffee. Yeah,
Mhm.
pure form. I did 4 ounces, so it's somewhat of a concentrate. And usually, what I do a lot of different things, but usually I will add some homemade nut milk, whether it's like a homemade cashew milk or walnut milk. Sometimes I'll get fancy and start mixing hybrids, walnut, cashew, hemp, pumpkin seed blend, with sweetened with dates, sea salt, water. That's it. Just 3 ingredients and not a lot, but you know, today is straight and it's so good. It's just and it's sweet too.
And do you ever add cinnamon?
Sometimes when I'm feeling spicy, when I'm feeling festive, you know,
Yes.
we used
I
to have it back in the day. What do you think? Because you've been on the journey with Sun and Sea, and I understand that um, you weren't drinking coffee before Sun and Sea. Would you tell us a little
no.
bit about that? Like, what made you jump onto the coffee bandwagon?
Well, when I first was, starting to I wanted to drink coffee because I did work in an office job, and everybody was drinking coffee, so I'm like, "Okay." It made me jittery, and I did not like the
Mm,
taste,
yeah.
and even with creamer and sugar and all that stuff, I didn't like it, so I tried decaf, and that didn't go over well either, so I'm like, "Alright." So I've been a tea drinker and herbal tea mostly for quite a long time, and then, someone in Of the Sun, she mentioned to me she's not a coffee drinker either, but she drinks Sun and Sea every day because of the nutrients in there with the chlorella and with the hemp and the coffee, all the synergy of all the ingredients. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try it. And so I started to drink it and I really found I enjoyed it because I didn't get that jittery feeling, but it gave me some energy. And I really like the taste of it. And so I have it almost every day. I do add cinnamon a lot of times when I have it in the morning as the warm beverage.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I add camel milk, or sometimes I'll add like hemp milk or pumpkin seed. I make pumpkin seed milk too, or hemp milk. And so I'll add that as a wonderful beverage. But then also, I do like to make the Avo coffee recipe that you
That right
presented.
there.
This
Mm-mm.
is this is so refreshing when it's for an afternoon. Um, I really enjoy having, and I use my homemade pumpkin seed or hemp milk or whatever I use as the base. And so I really enjoy that part of it. So I've come to enjoy coffee. Now, I don't think I would like regular coffee by itself. I wouldn't do that, but I really enjoy this and it's part of my daily regimen. I either have it in the morning or I'll have it in the afternoon. A lot of times I'll have it in the afternoon when it's warm as a little
Mhm.
pick me up energy boost in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I've done that, and also I just, actually, I picked up this recipe a number of years ago with Lauren in Wisconsin. We made a dessert with Sun and Sea coffee, and I made that recently as well. It's like an ice cream kind of bar dessert, and I know I shared it with you yesterday.
I ate it up. Look, it was soft enough for liquids for me. I was like, "Diane, this is good." Look,
Yeah,
I wish I had photos because the form, it was so perfect. It was this perfect square from the mold. My gosh, this is an ice cream sandwich you just made.
yes,
Coffee's ice cream sandwich. Es
sort
essentially, that's what it was reminiscent for
mhm.
me.
Yes. So there's many, many things you can do with coffee, with the Sun and Sea coffee. If you This was a recipe that we adapted that was really for espresso.
Mhm,
And so we just substituted the Sun and Sea. We thought, oh, let's see how that works. And it has, cacao powder in it too. So it's kind of that mocha feeling. And sometimes I'll add cacao powder also to my Sun and Sea coffee in the morning, with the warm to make it kind of a more mocha-y drink. So there's so many things that we can do with it besides just making a cup of coffee, which is also wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. That's wonderful, but there's so many things to explore as well. So that's part of my
yes.
journey there.
Yeah, that's quite a journey. You went from no coffee for me, only tea, herbal please, to being introduced and saying, "This is good," and to being creative now. Now you over here making delicious, creative treats, and if you all don't know, Diane makes delicious treats. She is the dessert lady, and
Mm, thank
I'm
you.
about to say dessert queen because, it's all from scratch and they're really tasty, and it was cool to see what you did with the Sun and Sea. So, yeah, and so I agree with the Avo coffee. It's perfect for summertime. Even though it's warm right now, I don't have my fan on, AC's not running, windows are closed. I'm drinking this warm coffee. I'm okay. I'm gonna be all
Yes.
right. But when the sun's out, geez, the sun and sea with that chill and the nice touch of the avocado, again, making it very extremely nutrient dense. So this is vegetarian friendly for people who want to keep things clean. What do they say? no GM. You know how on the packaging it's like it says no everything, like no soy, no MSG, no no gluten,
Mhm.
no animals,
Yeah,
no
and that's what
GMO.
we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some other things I'd like to touch on. I got some notes here just to kind of go over. So people they're often why do we drink coffee? And I think if we kind of go back to the environments that we were speaking of, you said people at work would offer you, and you're like, no. And, I remember um, some of the jobs I worked at, and there's one in particular. And I remember I worked for the cruise line. I was a travel agent, and I would go into this business building, and again, horrible coffee, horrible creamer. It was like, and they were ordering the cheapest thing, but we were drinking it up. It's either you were a smoker, you would smoke cigarettes, or you would drink that coffee. So, or do both. I was drinking the coffee as much as a person who would take cigarette breaks. And, I remember one day it was, I just couldn't drink that no more. And it wasn't like I stopped that and jumped to Sun and Sea because I wasn't working with other Sun in that deep yet. I was getting services, I was taking classes, and I don't think Sun and Sea had been a actual product yet. And but I do remember how it made me felt, but why I kept drinking it. I kept drinking it because I was thinking, look, this is gonna help me stay alert throughout the day. This is gonna help me make the cells that I need and stay sharp. And it was making me feel bad. So we drink coffee because we want the energy, and yet we feel the crash, and it's so insane because we will keep doing the same thing over and over, not knowing that there are alternatives. And so something that I just want to bring to our attention is that energy versus a stimulant, because coffee traditionally operates as a stimulant. And so we get that rev, and it's like a false sense. Now, again, I don't want to speak too negative to caffeine because caffeine isn't all bad. And there's caffeine in green tea, there's caffeine in ginseng, and these are things that I regularly take. I got matcha, I got green tea. I like these things, but anything in excess, you know, it becomes problematic. And Americans, we excessive. Humans in general, we have no control until we do, right? And so we're looking for the energy from what is really a stimulant. And we're looking for longevity from something that was not necessarily supposed to be longevity. So the way how it interfaces with the biology is it's adverse. It's the same thing with I learned this from Laota about the soybean. In Asia, they would use the soybean as a condiment. And over here in America, we're like, we're gonna put soy in everything. We're gonna mass produce soy, 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 soy. And so something that was used in small increments has been overly produced to be used in large amounts. And now we see issues with hormones in both men and women. The endocrine system is being jacked up because the excessiveness. So again, I'm speaking to something like the concept and principle that coffee or caffeine in and of itself is not bad. It's just the way we interface with it. It's not necessarily the most appropriate. So this is again why changing the composition really helps with our current relationship with coffee as humans, especially Westerners. So again, the idea of the energy, it's coming from the nutrient dense chlorella. It goes back to what I was saying earlier when you were asking me like the what is the value that I find in the liquid lifestyle that I live in drinking Sun and Sea. I get a charge in the ATP from the chlorella. I get real energy from a real plant or sea algae, microalgae that's grown in the sea that gets a bunch of nutrients from the sun. It grows based off of the light, So I'm a step away from light, and it's super green, and I'm getting what I need. And so it's fueling the mitochondria, is giving me minerals. Need I say more? So it's like it's essentially it's energy that this is what it looks like in my mind. It's sustained and it moves in cycles through the body instead of like this the stimulation through just caffeine in and of itself in an excessive amount. We have caffeine, but the introduction of all these nutrients that the cell can then process, and then it moves beyond just the moment of I'm drinking or just the window of I drink the coffee. The chlorella is still moving through you, as a nutrient, as energy, and working in other ways that we don't really see beyond just traditional energy, but like strengthening the cells in general. So again, I can go on and on, but this idea of why are we drinking it? We want energy, but this is it's going to operate differently. Instead of just a stimulant, it will give you true energy that has some longevity within it. That's beyond just I need this focus, but it's going to help you focus though. Also often says, look, don't drink it after 8. You're gonna be up. So that you have any thoughts on that? The idea of like energy and stimulants.
Thank you for that. I like that idea of the sustained that it's the sustained energy instead of the stimulant. I hadn't looked at it that way before because coffee is a stimulant, but it is like a quick, it's not sustained. Like this energy is with the chlorella that keeps it more even. And I like
Yes.
that. I like that better. If
Yeah.
it makes me feel better too when I know, for me personally, just the feeling of it is more sustained. I feel energetic, but not that crazy energy at the beginning and then, crash. This way, there's a sustained energy, like you said.
Yeah. I just thought about
So,
Red Bull.
oh,
It's like, oh, this is crazy. I used to drink that stuff.
oh
'Cause
my.
yeah, I used to do a lot of wild stuff, Diane. I wasn't always liquid light man, and fasting and sunlight and grounding and clearing. Because I wanted the energy. You explore all these things and then you fall for the propaganda and lacking knowledge and awareness of what you're really putting into your body. And there are things now like I wouldn't dare touch it. I don't even look at it. It's like it doesn't even exist within my reality. Once you educate yourself. But I kind of want to touch on what you were saying about how it makes you feel. And there was a client, and oh man, I would have loved to have this recorded because she's somewhat local. She lives in Georgia, but I think like almost an hour, 2 hours out from Atlanta. And she was just buying up coffee here and there. And she called in one day because it showed out of stock. And she's like, I'm just calling to see when it's going to be back in stock. And then she told me her story. And so she was essentially dealing with gastrointestinal issues and issues with her gut lining. And she said that once she started drinking the Sun and Sea, it was helping restore her gut. And I
Mm.
was like, OMG, I didn't know it'd do that. And so this is someone who had a real issue. They were going to doctors and they were recommending certain things that she wasn't really feeling like that. But the point is that she was, in which my understanding is that it was again through the chlorella, and what the chlorella is introducing into the body uh, like is cellular repair, tissue regeneration, and specifically supporting fiber and gut health. Because chlorella, it helps with nutrient absorption, it helps with immune regulation, and like all of those things were thrown off with her gut issues.
Mm.
And she's like, I'm taking this and it's healing me. And I'm like, what? Tell
Mm.
me more. And so, we chatted for what seemed like 20, 30 minutes about it. And for me, it was satisfying to hear that it has impacts at that level, and it was her body was able to take it in even in that state of needing healing, and it was doing healing again. So this goes back to the composition, the nutritional composition of everything that's in it, and it's not just the coffee. By the way, and I don't think we mentioned this. The coffee is organic Colombian coffee. And so the coffee is finely grounded into an instant coffee. and then we blend all of the other ingredients together into a fine, delicious powder. And it's in a 16-ounce jar. In the 16-ounce jar, you use about one nice tablespoon, exactly what
Mhm.
Diane has. One nice tablespoon. You see that chlorella? That stack of chlorella. Yeah.
Yeah,
One
there's the
nice walking
chlorella.
tablespoon. What's that?
There's the chlorella.
Yeah.
Picture of the
W-
chlorella and the coffee. Those are the
Yeah,
main 2 pictures on here.
exactly. And so one tablespoon of it mixed with, and again, I would recommend like 4 ounces because you don't need a lot. Think about how we drink coffee. It's always like, the gulp. It's like, this is best. Give me a venti. Back when I used to Starbucks it up, it was just horrible. And again, this is beautiful because people are finding out the way in which these larger organizations are sourcing their coffee. So it's very problematic if you don't know what their practices are. So these are things that Lauta has researched into, and even had like the little scientific breakdown of the research of the testing on the coffee, which is it's cool to see that. So that's one of the core ingredients, and I failed to mention that earlier with the coffee. But as I was saying, it's the synergy of all of these things. Where the coffee is sourced, the chlorella, the Lakanto sweetener that is zero glycemic index, no insulin spike, and then the hemp powder creamer, which is it's very delicious, but it also has the nutritional um, compounds that are and vitamins that are associated with hemp, and then it's energetically enhanced. So we're talking to it. We're asking it to awaken to its original divine blueprint. We're sending in Lakesh and Veritas, releasing the suffering of the ingredients. Because even though we're sourcing them as best as we can, we know that there are still other steps. We're not growing it. And until that point, we're going to be in Lakesh in it. And even still, when we're growing it, because we're talking about growing coffee beans, we're going to be in Lakesh in it. Because everything, why not? Why not release the suffering? Why not infuse oneness within the thing that you're working with and that you're going to consume into your body? So it creates that beautiful relationship with what you're consuming. So this is very much so a conscious product. It is an alkaline product. It is a product that can provide an alternative to someone who is looking to transition. And again, there's many alternatives. We're in a time where like people want something different. There's mushroom coffees out there. I've used to do that. I used to mix mushroom coffee with this. I know there's a client who does that. She's like, yeah, I mix my rise and my sun sea. Go ahead, do it. Hybrid it up, and because that's something. Mushrooms are something different, and the nutritional compounds and what you're getting, it's a different experience than what chlorella is. So this is not about competition, but really understanding what this is and what you can gain, especially for people who like coffee. Or if you're like Diane and you're like, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I like the idea of having a way to introduce chlorella into my diet.
Yep.
Try some sun and sea. I'm just
Yes,
saying.
I encourage everybody to try it. And also, I'd like to speak to that healing, your client who was healing with the Sun Sea. I think that's so wonderful. And not only is it the synergy of the ingredients, as you said, but also the energy that's being brought forth as you're making it, and
Yes.
that's healing as well.
Yes, yes.
So all of those parts are combined to bring that forward. So even if we're just drinking it thinking we're having a beverage, it is healing for us. It may give us
Mhm.
energy too, but it's also healing with all these wonderful ingredients and the extra energy that's been brought forth. So thank you for that.
Certainly. Yeah, it's a pleasure to share this knowledge. And it's important that we speak openly, candidly about this aspect because, again, we're in a reality where we must give attention to the energetic aspect of our reality. We can't be ignoring the energy that's produced with food. How many times have you went to a restaurant and like, something's off with this food, the energy, or someone's house? It's a real thing, isn't it? Like,
It is.
have to address that. And so where we're sourced, I know that's a thing for me, for sure, in this moment. This lifestyle I'm on is creating hypersensitivity, like even by smell. And I'm like, that smells off. Like I can't even. Nope, I'm good. It's a cool thing, right? It's really cool. It's like you can sense frequency through smell. But my point is like it's so imperative that if you are buying products, buy from trusted sources. Let us buy from people who love the thing that they do, where they're not just trying to make a quick dollar, where they're enamored and knowledgeable about the thing that they've consumed and even have stories of how it has helped them. I think about GT Synergy kombucha and how it
Yes.
started, helping his mother in the SCOBY and you know, and still using that same SCOBY. It's so powerful, right?
Hmm.
Inspiring, and, we trust it. It's like one of the few products in the big box stores that we can actually, without question, pull it off the shelves and into our cart or basket. And
Hmm.
so may we continue to have this level of discernment and work with trusted sources. And of a son, we are a trusted source. This information land for you. May you find resonance with this, and if it does resonate, get yourself a 16-ounce jar. Tell somebody
Hmm.
who you know who drinks coffee, like, girl, I see what you're drinking. I see you drinking that battery acid, and you've been talking about changing your health. Visit this website of the Sun. Try the Sun and see. Tell me what you think, and they're gonna like it because it's delicious.
Hmm.
It touches all the different points. Like it has the creamer, it has the sugar, the coffee. It tastes like coffee. We're not trying to make it not taste like coffee. It has the chlorella, but then you can add a little something if you need to as well.
Yes, but it's not too sweet. There's just that little bit of sweetener in there because sometimes things can be too sweet. But
Yeah.
this is just that little bit
Mhm.
to make it. It's really balanced. All the flavors are balanced because you don't taste the chlorella either, though your coffee does turn a little green a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, I like that part. I just gotta say, we've been revving up on the chlorella
Uh-huh.
measurements. I'm like, need more green because it's like the coffee ring when you drink it down, the coffee ring would be green. It's like, oh yes, it was like a clear indicator.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting something healthy here. So
it is
that's
good.
funny.
So I'd like to just share there were a few comments in the chat here, and welcome everyone again. Thank you, Lauren in Lakesh Veritas and Serenia in Lakesh Veritas. And Serenia has a couple comments here. She said in Lakesh Veritas, I was not a coffee drinker before of the Sun and Sea, yet I add it to my smoothie and desserts for the healing and elevation benefits. And she's very sensitive to caffeine, and yet she does well with Sun and Sea. And Serenia is the person who introduced me
Ah,
to Sun and Sea and actually recommended because she wasn't a coffee drinker too. So thank you, Serenia, for that. And I'm glad that you are really enjoying it too. And then Lauren has a comment. I remember having painful acid reflux when drinking regular coffee. I could feel how toxic it was. Sun and Sea coffee is healing and warming. I add a little cinnamon and it's my favorite. So thank you, Lauren. So she's not getting the acid reflux either.
there we go. I
So
mean,
that's another testimonial about that, like your
yeah,
client.
that's very much a thing. The acid reflux, and I mean, it's just such a clear indicator from the biology. The amounts that we're taking this in the form that we take it in, we should
Mhm.
reconsider. Again, it's that synergy, that synergistic mm, offsets all of that. So that's really wonderful to hear.
Does, yes. All righty. So do you have anything else you'd like to share or?
Yeah, get your if you don't have one, get yourself a really good frother. I love a frother. Frother changed my life, because it is an instant coffee, and spoon's okay, but you get yourself a nice little frother. It gets all foamy because I was just having the last little remnants of it, and I was like, oh, it's just foamy and delicious, and I just having an experience here, and I like coffee like that. I like to have the foam experience, and when I have the milk on top and do a little swirl sometimes, and is what it is for those who want that experience. But again, it's been wonderful to be able to share this information with you all, and be on the lookout. We are looking to change the delivery system, the packaging for Sun and Sea, so it will
Mm.
be more accessible. Um, like my guy says, like, don't spill all the beans, just surprise them. So just know though that it will be it isn't a process of transmutation. It's shifting. It's about to evolve. It is in metamorphosis. It will
Mm.
still be the same great flavor profile, same ingredients. Just the packaging is going to be even more elevated and versatile for people who may be traveling. So that's something to really look forward to. And I would say even a video of how to make the delicious Avo coffee at some point, so you can see it. We do have flyers. We sent one out on our e-blast to everyone who's subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, we encourage go to the Otherson website, subscribe to our newsletter. We're often sending out information like this, and when the Sun is Sea back in stock, get it while it's hot. Badoosh. And then also with the classes, etc. We're looking to do some local things in person. So if you are in Georgia, stay tuned. We'll have some events. We're looking to do group meditation events, literally in the park, where we're grounding on the earth, touching the sun. Some of these things will include frequencies and sounds, but really working with your divine technology. And so, again, like, subscribe, share this with somebody you know who needs this, because, again, this is value. This is value. This is value.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to the live events. And also the flyers, I have posted them on my website on the blog,
Mm,
in the blog section. So I have the information about of the Sun and Sea coffee, which talks about the ingredients in general, not as descriptive as you have described them, but a little bit. And then also I have the Avo coffee recipe out there too. So people can check that out as well if they didn't get it in the email, they can check it out at inlakeshstudio1.com. So,
yes.
but
Thank
yes,
you for that.
I encourage everybody to get some of the Sun and Sea coffee, to try it in whatever form you'd like to, however you'd like to enjoy it, because there's so many ways.
Avo coffee. I'm telling you. Because people are like, it's hot. It's like, make some Avo coffee. The children will love it. I'm telling you. Everybody, bring it to your
It is
coworkers.
It is really good. So, and there were just a few more comments I'd like to
Oh,
just
yeah?
share before we close. So Lauren said, yes to the frother, the bomb diggity, super creamy and smooth. And I second that, third that, because I use the frother too.
Yeah.
I think it really makes it nice and creamy. And
Mhm.
then, oh, Serenia made a comment. She said, and Diane's delicious desserts are awesome as well.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Diane. Oh, thank you, Serenia.
Harvest Man Cafe special. Diane's
Special dessert.
desserts. Like I should be one.
All righty. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Tarvars. This was such a wonderful night. I'm so grateful. I got so much more information about in depth of those ingredients and the synergy and different things. Also about the ATP you were talking about, which I guess I need to learn a little bit more about too. So thank you for that.
Yeah. It's such a pleasure and an honor. Highly encourage. May we continue to strive for health. Health is what it sounds cliche, but health is truly wealth, especially in this
Mhm.
time. Yeah. And it's part of embodying and sustaining our light. So thanks
It
for
is.
having me.
Thank you. All righty. So, in Lakesh Veritas, everyone, with honor, respect, gratitude, integrity, discipline, and action.